Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to be restoring this beautiful wooden toolbox. Okay, so welcome back to the channel. And if you're new to the channel, how about hitting that subscribe button so you get notified of any future videos I produce, whether they be restoration videos, DIY projects, tool reviews, whatever they may be. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Anyway, so today we are restoring this beautiful old wooden toolbox. And one thing I would say also here at the beginning is that if you've ever been curious about how to restore wooden furniture, this video will also help you with that, because I'm going to use this wooden toolbox as a subject, but all the techniques that I will follow in this video will also apply to wooden furniture. So if you have some old wood furniture that is looking a little ratty and you wish you could restore it but you can't afford to pay somebody to do it, now after watching this video you'll be able to do it yourself. It's really not that difficult. It just takes a little bit of effort and elbow grease and you can do it yourself. So let's get started on this wooden box here. Now the first thing I would say, this box is already bare wood. There is no paint, there is no stain. It is completely unfinished. If whatever project you're tackling happens to have stain, finish, paint, varnish, polyurethane, whatever it happens to have on it, you need to get a quality stripper to take that off so you can get down to the bare wood. You can't do anything until you get down to the bare wood. So I'm not going to show you that because I don't need to do that. But that's pretty self-explanatory. You put the stripper on, takes the paint off, you get down to bare wood. Simple as that. Anyway, so carrying on from here, what we're going to do with this subject right here is we're going to sand it clean, because it's a little bit, even though it's unfinished, it's a little ratty looking because the wood has taken a little bit of use and abuse over the years. So the first thing we're going to do is take off the handles and the attachments and everything else so we can get down to good, clean, bare wood. Okay, so I moved up here to the bench to make it easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. And as you saw, I took all the hardware off. Now hold on to this. I'm going to go through and clean all this up later. You can see it has a fair share of rust and buildup and stuff like that from, years of use and abuse and what have you. But it's still good. So I'm not going to replace this stuff. I'm just going to clean it up on the wire wheel, and I'm sure it'll make it shiny and clean and brand new all over again. So I'll get to this later. Be sure to find a little container where you can keep all your screws and nuts and all this stuff so you don't lose them. That is, if you're using the same stuff again. If you're using new hardware, then you don't need to worry about it. But I will be putting this back exactly the way it was. So I keep all this and I clean it up later, and we'll put it all back together later. Now, as far as the box goes, I'm working on the lid right now, and I'm only going to refinish or refurbish or restore the outside of the box. I'm not going to do the inside because the inside is going to get beat up by tools. So there's no point really doing anything special with the inside. It's going to get banged up by tools going in and out of it. So that's going to stay just the way it is. The outside is what I'm going to focus on. Now the outside, you can start off, depending on the condition of your project, you can start off with 50 grit, 80 grit, 100 grit, and work your way up to 220. You know, you can go more if you want to, 300, 500, whatever, but wood doesn't necessarily need you to go that far. 220 or so would be sufficient at this stage of the project. So we're going to clean this up, and it has little buildups like this. This is like a big old glob of something that's stuck on here. So I'm going to remove this first, and you can see paint globs and stuff like that. All this needs to be cleaned up because whatever stains are on here will show through your finish. So you need to get this wood as clean as possible. So sanding it off and removing any of this stuff is the way to go. So let's start on that right now. Okay, so we're making some progress. I've gone through and cleaned it up a little bit, and it's starting to look a lot better. Also, one thing, I'm doing all this by hand because I realize some people out there may not have all the tools that I have to be able to do this, and some people like to watch others do it by hand. So that's why I'm doing this by hand for you guys. But if you have an orbital sander or, you know, any kind of palm sander or anything like that, go ahead and use that. That's perfectly fine. Just be careful to keep it even across the wood. You don't want to dig into it or something like that and create divots in the wood. You want to just go nice and smooth all the way across and sand off the surface, residue, finish, whatever you're doing, and get the wood nice and smooth so you can have a nice, pleasant finish. So take that into account. And then we'll discuss the stains and the polyurethane and all that kind of stuff a little later on in the video, but I'll explain how all that goes. Don't worry about that. All right, so I'm going to keep working on this a little bit, and I'll show you the results in a little while. But I'm fast forwarding through it because it does take time, and I don't want the video to be extremely long. So after many hours of sanding, the box is now clean and ready for staining. So you can see how beautiful the box looks, and the hardware has also been cleaned up, so that looks beautiful and ready to install when we're done. So now we're going to move on to the staining process. Now I like to use poly and stain separately, but you can buy it all in one if you want to go that route. This gives you more control if you go separately. So now let's get to the staining part. Okay, so here we are after a few days of letting the box dry to let the polyurethane harden up really well. Here we are. We're pretty much done. The stain is done. The poly's done. Now it's time to reassemble it and put it back together. So let's get to it. Okay, so there you have it. The box has been fully restored and it's reassembled. So there you see the finished product. Now I'm going to give you a few close-up shots so you can get a better look at it. But that goes to show you it's not that hard to restore one of these boxes. I hope this encourages you to tackle your own projects and make it turn out beautiful just like this. So as you see, we stripped it down, polyurethaned it, stained it, cleaned up all the hardware, and it looks like a brand new box. This will last for many, many more years to come. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it. Give me a thumbs up if you did. If you didn't like it, tell me why. And, hope you subscribe to the channel, and hope to see you guys back here next time real soon. So I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.